Hello and welcome to the double. We are live officially on YouTube here. I'm sure people will be slowly flowing in here, but hello to the podcast listeners. If you didn't watch this on YouTube Live, you'll have your shot every Thursday now, moving forward at 7:30 p.m. My name is Stu Newstat. I'm on the podcast as always. Unfortunately, Noah isn't here, but we have a great co-host in store for you. The name may sound familiar if you listen to the Sidious Mag podcast or Not Run Your Mouth, More Than Running with Dana Giordano. Mike Zozzolo. Mike, welcome to the double.
What's up? Excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mike, I ran at the College of New Jersey, finished up in 2020. Now editing for Sidious Mag, More Than Running. Hopefully Run Your Mouth. David Melly, hit me up. Let's edit that too. Super excited to bring some more coverage to D3 running. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that the man behind the editing of some of the biggest podcasts is a D3 guy. And so we're lucky to have him, and he's ready to chat D3 track and field with me today.
Yes.
So, Mike, we were chatting about what has been going on in the D3 landscape. You know, it's very early still, but a lot of good results have happened not only this past weekend, but in December. What's caught your eye so far here this season?
Yeah, definitely a lot of good stuff so far. Just this past weekend, I want to start it off with Alex Christeller from Widener, thrower, threw 19.49 in the weight throw. His previous best in the weight throw, it looks like to me, was 13.13. So long overdue PR. He was third in the hammer at Outdoor Nationals. So great thrower, really established. Just threw a monster in the weight throw. He also PR'd in the shot put in that meet, won both events at Franklin and Marshall. So big throw from him. Third in the hammer at Outdoor Nationals. Going to do some big things in the throws this year. Excited to see what he does. Another thing that happened this weekend, Bill Daly at the Otterbein Snow Globe Open. He won the mile and the 1K, 4:12 in the mile, 2:30 in the 1K. For him, his 3K PR is 9:17. Cannot wait to see that get lowered. I feel like there's a lot of guys like that, especially from COVID, who just have some PRs that are about to get demolished. Another guy in the mile, Matt Leckie of RPI, at the Utica Winter Opener. He won the mile, ran 4:16, but what was most impressive about that run, went out in around 2:12 high. So closed in 2:03. His last 600 was 1:30. So really great closing speed. I am excited to watch him the rest of the season. I think he's
Where are you getting these splits from? Who's your source?
I have a couple friends that run for RPI. Shout out RPI. So I was at work at Princeton Running Company. Come to us for all your running shoe needs. I had the Utica Winter Opener. I was just watching the live splits, and he went out in 2:12 and then just started absolutely ripping. So I was watching that live. But yeah, shout out to the RPI team. And then moving over to the women, lit it up in the field. Brea Christopher of Wartburg at the Chelsea M. Henkenius Invite. She won the high jump, PR of 1.74 meters. Her previous PR was 1.71.
Which for the people who like in feet, what's that in feet?
I don't know. I would have to pull it up. I'd have to convert it. If someone in the chat wants to convert it, that'd be sick. It was big PR, and she was 6th at Outdoor Nationals in the high jump. Already PRing early in the season. She's definitely going to be a threat. She was also 2nd in the triple jump in that meet. And then Isabel Maletich, she won the long jump and triple jump at Nationals. She's the defending champion in both events, outdoors. She put up some great jumps, 5.86 meters in the long jump and 12.01 in the triple jump. So neither of those are PRs. But still they're both like number 1 in D3 right now. Just really big jumps just to start the season from the defending champ in both of those. And then another fun stat, the Loris women's 4x4 currently have the fastest 4x4 time in D3. They ran 3:56.81. The TCNJ women, they are third right now on TFers, but they ran on a bank track, so their time got converted. They also ran exactly 3:56.81. So Loris and TCNJ in the 4x4 have run the exact same time. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch, see how that develops the rest of the season.
Well, especially so early on, I'm sure those times are going to drop. And shout out Simon Hayes in the chat. 5.7 is the high jump there. So we got some calculations going on in the chat. You know, one thing I want to bring up about Isabel Maletich as a jumper, I was going through this, and here's my thought process. So she's jumped 3 feet further already this season from when she won. She's in the top 10 overall on the triple jump. Triple jump, women's triple jump could be a record in danger this season. I'm going to go into some of my keys so far that I've seen so far this season, starting with the Loris men's DMR. So they've quietly put together 3 guys who have done this so far. They had Mike Jassa, defending 800-meter champ. He's run 150 already in the 800. Ryan Harvey, he came up big for them during cross country. He's already put down 4:10 in the mile, and that was with Sawinski. He came out to pace them in December, so that's pretty cool to see. You know, a pro runner coming out to help them. And over this past weekend, Carter Oberfell ran 2:30 in the K. You know, you equate that to potentially a 3-minute 1200. Plus, they have a guy that's run 50 in the 400. That's already 950 for a DMR. DMR record's 945. So watch out, Loris DMR squad. Another squad I want to highlight here are the Oshkosh women mid distance and the sprint crew. I guess the men's mid distance as well from Oshkosh. I was looking this up earlier in that sprints crew. They have 3 guys that have already ran 678, 682, and 682. So still early, right? But 1, 2, 3 in the nation. You go back to 2016, they would have 3 guys in the top 6 since 2016. So every year since 2016, they'd have 3 top 6 times from the same team. You know, that's gonna be big points there at the national meet.
They ran that in December too, right?
Yeah, in December too. So early on, and I'm assuming sprinting is just like mid distance running. You know, you're gonna peak later on in the season. You know, you bring that mileage down a little bit to, you know, what is it, 700 kilometers into practice, and you're ready to go.
Off.
Yeah, taper it right off. They're also their mid D crew, both in the men and the women. You know, we mentioned Mike Josser in 150, but Oshkosh guys have 2 guys that's gone. I'm assuming they're brothers, Steven and Ryan Potter, 152, 153 each to start off the year. And then their women, they have 3 women that's gone 213 and 214. Sina Madigan, Zanzi Demko both run 213. And Libby Geisness has ran 214 in the 8. You tack on Hannah Lorenz, All-American in cross country. She's ran 501. Same with Zanzi Demko. You know, that's a good little squad they have going on with that DMR as well. So be on the lookout for Oshkosh mid-D. And in our preview article, if you haven't read it yet, Emily Richards breaks down kind of what we've already been talking about, a little bit more, a little bit less, but an exciting transfer to Benedictine. He's already run the number 17 all-time time in the 60-meter hurdle so far. His name is Corin Leonard out of Benedictine. So a JUCO transfer, which is, you know, pretty exciting to see him coming on the scene here and already making some noise. So we'll see what he can do moving forward to the season. But the biggest performance so far out of the new season in 2022 has to be the 3K this past weekend. The fastest 3K in D3 history run by Aidan Ryan. The record books want it to be a 200-meter track. The D3 Glory Days record book doesn't care. The fastest 3K of all time, Aidan Ryan, and he's here right now with us. Hello, Aidan.
Welcome.
Thanks.
How you doing?
Doing fine.
Do just fine. Anything special happened recently?
Yeah, still pretty amped from the race last weekend. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, let's go into it because we know you were entered in the BU 3K in December. We saw your name on that list. You scratched or didn't run or whatever. So what came into this this trip out to Washington? I saw potentially it's your grad school home. So take us through what the decision process was to go out to Washington.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm thinking about doing a master's program there. I still have some eligibility to use, so I'd love to make the most of it. So I was already interested in visiting at some point. So the fact that there was an opportunity to go, and the meet was last weekend, so it just made sense. On top of the fact the Dempsey's a ripping track, and obviously a great field to get towed along. And because I had missed the BU meet in December, that was just there are only so many fast races that you could run, especially for D3. It's mostly flat tracks at our championships. So you got a couple BU meets. Like the fact that I could squeak in a meet at the Dempsey was hard to pass up.
Yeah, did you chat with your coaches about that? Like, let them know, like, hey, I'm gonna go out there and visit. Can I get in a race? Like, what was that process like to get approval?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I'd talk to my coaches and ask permission.
You didn't just jump in and be like,
yeah,
hey,
I mean,
this race.
No. I put it on my coach's radar as soon as I heard it would be a possibility, just to get the gears turning. Because I know, especially with COVID and traveling off campus and all the restrictions, I knew there'd be some hoops to jump through. But I put that in my coach's hands, and they took care of it. So,
how has that been for you, kind of navigating COVID and everything? Have you guys had any like scares or anything? I know a lot of teams have had to miss stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there've definitely been scares. A lot of close contacts, and people have to sort of lay low for a few days. It's definitely just a little nerve-wracking now, just with the testing protocols and the quarantine protocols and the return to play protocols.
Yeah.
So if you get it now, that sidelines you for like almost 2 weeks just with everything that you have to do. So like the day of a meet, like it's okay to maybe be exposed, but like the next day you don't want to be exposed because then you're going to be missing the meet in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
let's go into the race. As you mentioned, pretty star-studded field, probably headlined and won by Ben Blankenship, Sam Prakel also in the field. What are you feeling like starting the line, looking down and seeing, some pro athletes, and you got your Williams singlet on? How you feeling, right before the gun?
Yeah, that definitely. I noticed those guys for sure. Especially the Williams singlet. It's like this, like on the older side of Nike singlets. I mean, that part is just sort of cool to embrace, like the sort of underdog attitude. I have been in a few races now throughout college where, and I guess a couple in high school, where I just felt like, I was toeing the line with guys who were way better. And in the past, I feel like I've had moments where I've let that become a little too, I let myself become a little too starstruck maybe. So, I just had to say, you know what, like we're here to run fast. These guys are here to run fast. Like how bad could it be if I tried to hang with them? Like,
yeah,
if I die and run a 65 last lap, like, so what? I'm probably still running pretty fast.
I liked your Instagram caption after the race. I was like, took a deep breath and just sent it. I think that was
Thanks. Yeah.
kind of encapsulates that mentality. So what was the goal kind of going into the race? Was the record on your mind? What were you thinking going into it?
Yeah, of course the record was on my mind. Like I wanted to run fast. I knew I could at least PR. It's been
Right.
over 2 years since my old PR. So I guess that would be like the lower hanging fruit. Um, and yeah, I knew the race was being paced for 750. So I thought, perfect. If I'm at the back of the train at the mile, I'll be coming through and around like the pace that is appropriate for me. And like who knows? Like it could be something good. Like hope, fingers crossed, that something good is under the records, and luckily it was.
Nice.
What's the training been like if you were planning to do a BU 3K, kind of similarly, or not similarly, like close after cross country, now it's later in January, what's that look like for you since cross country's been over?
Yeah. So the moment cross country ended, I sort of had to regroup. I've been playing a lot of defense, battling injuries or just holding off little things all throughout the summer. Really, it started in the spring. And I got some imaging done right after nationals. Turns out that I had a stress fracture in I guess the spring or early summer, something like that. And that was, looking back, must have been something that I picked up in Boulder. And the problems related to that just lingered throughout the season. So come December, I wanted to just like try to just totally squash out all these little things and like just get fresh, get healthy, and build back a little bit. So my mileage has not been high. I mean, I started running again. I guess a couple or 2 or 3 weeks into December, and then got in a couple good workouts when I was home over break. I guess that was after Christmas. Started jumping workouts again, and I guess things have just been clicking. I've just been doing, I guess, the right PT exercises or something. Good strides, I guess. A lot of strides.
Was there any like?
So it was a surprise.
Was there any like one workout that you hit and afterwards you were like, all right, I'm ready. I can go for that record.
Nope.
Just the strides.
I ran the strides. Like I don't know. On Thursday, I did a workout, and like towards the end, I did a couple 400s at like 63, 64, and thought to myself like, okay, those still feel pretty hard. like let's just see how it goes.
Does this change what you think you can do this coming track season?
I guess a little. I mean, I think I could run faster than 755. Maybe before I thought I could run faster than 8 flat. So I guess it does shift the goalposts a little bit, but I do think I would have been in the same mindset whether or not I ran this race. Just I've always had sort of higher goals and still think I can run a little faster and want to squeak out all those seconds that I can.
Yeah, so you broke 15 you broke 15 unofficially in the D3 books. Now you've broken 8.
Crush 15. Yeah.
Sorry, 14. Yeah, you destroyed 15. Yeah, you broke 14. You got 8. There's one more number out there that, you go for the trifecta. Is that on your mind?
Yep, for sure. Definitely going to try to run a fast mile at some point soon. As of now, I'm entering in the BU meet in a couple, or not even a couple weeks, in like 10 days or whatever it is now, at Terrier.
Nice.
Just because again, we don't get too many chances to run fast, so we're just gonna go for it. So we'll run the mile at Terrier and hopefully square that away.
Nice. Yeah, speaking of that sub 4 D3 mile, Jeremy Hernandez, he's running for
Yeah.
Empire Elite right now. I followed them on Instagram. I ran with them like a week ago. Great people, but I saw they gave you like a shout out on Instagram. What's your sort of connection to them?
Yeah, well, I'm from New York City, and they're a New
Okay,
York
sweet.
team. Over COVID, they're one of their coaches, John Troutman, had reached out to me, just offering, to just link up on runs. Partly, because he knew that, it's COVID and training
Yeah.
alone stinks, and
Yeah.
probably because he thought I was graduating and maybe would try to, get me interested in the team if I was staying at home in New York. So I just sort of became friends with those guys, and have joined them on a handful of runs. I ran with Jeremy just over winter break. We had a good workout.
Nice.
So that was with him. That was like the first sort of rust buster workout, and it was pretty tough and pretty fun to run with him.
That was awesome. Yeah, they're a great crew. They're so nice.
Yeah, they're really great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So when you think, long term here, let's start with indoor nationals. Any idea of what you want to do? I'm sure there's some DMR talks, but you probably have some personal goals as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be most likely running the 3K, but also the DMR. We're definitely aiming for the DMR. Our plan, pre-COVID, our plan, I guess, right when, the meet was canceled, we were going to be running the DMR. I was also going to be running the 3K. I think there's no reason not to still do that double. I felt ready for it 2 years ago. I feel like it's still a good decision this time around. So we'll try to run a DMR and get qualified and really tackle that.
Yeah, and on your episode with Elias, we went into your all's breakthrough over the past spring here. Seeing him get runner up at nationals, how are you feeling for your teammate, for your friend? I know you guys were joking around about the rivalry between you two, that would friendly rivalry, I should say, that would go on throughout the season. But yeah, how talk about your teammate Elias there for a second.
Yeah, I mean, watching Elias get second was so incredible and just bonkers to me. Like, just from knowing where we came, like knowing his progression over the past few years, like he passed me at a certain point in cross country nationals, and like I didn't know that he was even still around. So it sort of surprised me. I was just like, oh, like I'm dying. We have like, I don't know, 1,400 meters to go. Like I knew that he was going to be passing me and I wasn't going to see him again. So I'm just like, okay, Elias, like you got this, like go for it. And just because of the way the course shakes out, like I could see him making some really strong moves from my vantage point a fair ways behind. and watching him just storm to the lead, I was just thinking like, oh my God, Elias is about to win. Elias is going to be a national champion. This is insane. Of course, he got second in a great finish. But I was just all smiles crossing the line. Just from like 50 meters out, I was like already starting to celebrate for Elias, and I just like immediately like ran up to him, and we were both really stoked to both run just really good hard races. We left out what we could, and that's definitely more of that is representative of our relationship. It's not like a unhealthy rivalry at all.
I think in the
very
summer you guys
symbiotic.
said you wanted to make it a toxic rivalry, just to make it toxic.
Yeah, we failed.
Yeah.
we can pick it back up though. I'll start writing him like mean texts or something. Yeah, just really discouraging.
So we're holding people to it if you want. You've done some crazy things already. Sub 4 is on your mind. Any definitive times you want to speak into existence here on the double?
God, no, not really.
It's fine.
I mean, geez, so the record's 3:59:01. Like 3:59:00 would be pretty nice.
Take it.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, while we're here, like, what's the world record? Like 3:47.
Yeah, throw it anytime you want. That's what we'll take it.
3 minutes. I'm gonna be the first man under 3.
There we go.
Honestly, a DMR record attempt, I think, is also on the horizon. So
Nice.
we were like 0.0 whatever off of it last time we tried.
Yeah.
So regrouping and going after that will be pretty fun too.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, yeah, we're excited for you. 7:55:29, fastest
Yes.
ever 3K. Has it hit you yet?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
congrats
thanks
on
for
that.
hopping
Yeah.
on. Oh, sorry, Mike.
No, yeah, just saying congrats on that. It's excited what's next. It's gonna be fun watching. Glad we got you here on the first episode of the double.
Yeah, I really appreciate your support. Thanks a
For
lot.
sure.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, see you guys.
See ya.
Cool. See you, Aidan.
Well, that was pretty cool to hear from Aidan after running the fastest 3K ever. I'm excited to see what he can do coming up this track season. Sub 4. I mean, that would be pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think he would be obviously the only person to do sub 14, sub 8, and sub 4. So something to look out for.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Excited to watch that. So yeah, now we're moving into Ella Baran, right?
Yeah, Ella Baran, the runner-up in the 15 and 5K last outdoor season. She just placed 9th overall in cross country with her team, Johns Hopkins, taking the title, their seventh national title in the last 9 years, a complete dynasty. So it's fun to learn more about her and her perspective at Johns Hopkins. So enjoy our conversation with Ella. All right, now we're joined by Ella Baran from Johns Hopkins. Ella, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to hear a little bit more about you and what you have in store for this season. But before we jump into, the current day, let's take a step back recently to cross country. You look at your TFers, you ran in September, and then the big question for Johns Hopkins was where's Ella? Despite the team running really well still, you weren't there until the national meet where you all won the national title. Congratulations. You were 9th overall, but what happened from September until you finishing 9th at the national meet?
That's a good question. So yeah, right after Iona, I, was feeling really good going into the race. But coming out of that meet, I felt something really familiar, and I'm definitely no stranger to injuries. And I put myself in a boot because it was hurting to walk, and so I didn't even try running. And then shortly after that, I found out that I had a stress fracture in my calcaneus, which is my heel bone. And I actually had the same injury a year ago, so the summer of 2020. So it seemed really familiar, and there's a reason why. So it was good to get an explanation behind that. But yeah, so it was kind of just stopping all running and trying to minimize the amount of forces I was putting on my foot and trying to think of other options so that I can be back when it mattered more.
How soon before the national meet did you get back to actually running?
So my first land run was 2 weeks before nationals.
Wow.
And prior to that, I was able to Alter G 2 or 3 times a week. I tried to add in some Alter G workouts, but my hamstrings hated me. So I I like kind of had to stop that since it was kind of pulling on the back of my knee and causing knee pain. So yeah, 2 weeks out from nationals was my first land run, and then I was able to do two or three workouts on land, like around 15 minutes of hard effort before then. So I at least had some familiarity going into the meet. But yeah, so it was definitely a gamble. I'm not used to going into meets, especially national championships, feeling underprepared, and so it was a little bit up in the air. But I'm definitely glad that I was able to contribute, and that was really the goal for me that day, was to put my best foot forward and contribute as much as I could.
Yeah, well, congrats. That's awesome, especially after only running for 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Yeah, what was your mentality like heading into the race? Did you expect yourself to be as far up in the pack as you were?
Definitely not. I was really concerned that I would kind of hit a wall around 4K. So the goal was, or the plan going into the meet was for me to pack run with the team like we've been doing all season. And if I felt like I had a second gear, I would then push the last 2K and try to move up as much as I could. And so that was the game plan. But yeah, I didn't know how far up I placed when I crossed the finish line. In fact, yeah, I felt like I was closer to 20th or 25th at that point in the race, since I had no sense of where I was, honestly.
Wow. So transitioning kind of out of cross, how did you sort of decide to run that early 3K? Because obviously that's, some people ran 3Ks, 5Ks right after cross. What sort of was the conversation like with your coach and everything, and how did you settle on doing that 3K at Ocean Breeze, right? Fast track.
Yeah. Yes, it was at Ocean Breeze, and Bobby tends to push people coming off of cross with using their cross fitness to try to see if they can run a qualifier if they're feeling healthy and mentally there. And so since I had only raced nationals, and I mean, all of cross country was definitely not a break for me since I was still cross training, but I felt like I had another race left in me before taking a longer break right before finals. So yeah, I was just feeling I was feeling motivated, and because of the ongoing pandemic, I wasn't really sure what sort of opportunities would be available for our team in January. Obviously, we were all hopeful that we would have a normal indoor season, but I know that we're seeing that spectators now cannot come to meets. So I think I just wanted to take the opportunity when I could, and definitely glad that it worked out.
You mentioned you were only running on land for 2 weeks prior to the national meet. What sort of workouts or what sort of mileage were you being able to do from the national meet to that 3K?
Let me think. I want to say like high 20s, low 30s. I'm a pretty low mileage person in general, so I don't really go much higher than 45 miles a week. That's kind of where my body taps out. So yeah, like I would say like low 30 miles a week going into the 3K is probably where it's at.
Yeah, hearing that and how much cross training you were doing, I think a lot of times people, when they're hurt, like, oh, I'll go on the bike for 30 minutes or I'll swim for 20. What sort of cross training were you doing to kind of keep yourself at this All-American level?
Yeah, so I got really into biking. This injury, it kind of changes depending on what I'm dealing with. So in the past, I would swim for like an hour to an hour and a half, or aqua jog. But this time, since it was a relatively low grade stress fracture, I opted to bike. And so I would bike probably anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, 2 hours for like to simulate a long run. And then I would simulate workouts on the bike as well, which would probably add up to be like an hour and a half of work. And then I would have easy bikes where I just go and bike an hour to 75 minutes, just really whatever I felt like and was mentally able to do that day.
Was that like stationary bike or were you outdoors?
Yes, it was stationary bike. Yeah.
Jeez.
Baltimore is not the most bike friendly city.
Right. As mental strength building right there.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you feeling now? You know, you have a break, you already have your national qualifier. You know, what's training looking like for you right now?
I'm feeling good. Training is going well. It's just like a couple workouts a week, and I finally got back up to my typical mileage of 40 to 45 miles. So I'm looking to hold that there and maybe lengthen my long run a little bit, but definitely getting into some faster pace stuff. I haven't really touched my mile race pace since outdoor of last year until this past week. So that was a little bit of a transition. But yeah, I'm looking forward to upcoming races and hopefully putting down some faster times. Really just looking to improve my 3K and mile PRs this season.
And what are kind of the goals going forward? Because last year outdoors you were second in the 15 and the 5K. Yeah, is it going to be similar focus this year for outdoors and then indoors kind of mile 3K?
Yes, yeah. The plan right now is mile 3K, maybe a DMR. So yeah, I really things are just up in the air. We'll see where our DMR is going into nationals because I know that that's a priority for Bobby. He's a big DMR guy, and also just my teammates trying to get as many people to nationals as we can. So, but yeah, I definitely want to also a little bit emphasize the mile and 3K and just trying to score as many points as I can in indoor, and try to go after a team podium finish. Yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, one question, you know, I think a lot of people are curious as you're the first woman from Johns Hopkins we've spoken to, you know, this past cross country season, and this is obviously a track show, but it kind of goes into your track culture as well. You all won your 7th in the past 9 years. What's it like being a part of just a dominant dynasty? I know you have some track and field folks as well that can kind of help put the pieces together for a track team, but primarily this track season, I'm sure, you know, a lot will be relied on the distance squad to bring you some points. So what's it like kind of being a part of that culture in that dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's part of the reason why I came to Hopkins. I had a really close team in high school, and so that's kind of what I was looking for in college as well. And just people really they love running and they love spending time together. And yeah, I think like going into nationals this year, we knew that we really wanted to carry on that legacy. And so that definitely adds a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun to be a part of it, and just recognize that you're like going through this with your teammates. And that's a really big emphasis in our program, starting with coming from Bobby and then all the way throughout the team is just really focusing on relationships and forming those bonds that will transcend college. So it's been really, really special, and I'm definitely thankful that I've been able to contribute on the national stage now as well.
Nice. Any big time goals that you want to throw out, or if you want to keep them under wraps, understandable. But mile 4:57, right? That new 3K PR 9:36. Any big times you're chasing?
Yeah, I'd probably want to run as close to 4:40 as I can in the mile. So just not a specific time goal. I think I would be happy with a lot of things,
Yeah.
but and then specifically in the 3K, I actually ran a 9:30 time trial in September. So I definitely want to officially break it, and I have my eyes on 9:23 or 9:24 because that's our school record. So
Nice. Awesome.
That-
Best of luck with those. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
thanks.
4:40 time, that's a mile D3 record.
Yeah,
we saw
it would
Aidan
be.
just did 3K record. We're going to see a mile record this year.
Potentially, we'll see.
Awesome. We love it. 'Cause, yeah, we'll, I think this is going to be a big season for a lot of D3 folks and breaking records, and it's exciting to see right now. So best of luck to you. And, thanks so much for joining us on The Double, our brand new YouTube live show.
Yes. Thank you, Ella.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're back.
All right. We're back. Sorry about the lag there. We're going to have to fire our intern on the tech team for that.
Yeah,
But
we recorded with Ella yesterday. Yeah. So recorded with her yesterday, then just brought the video in.
Yeah. So it's all right. We'll put the video up on social media so you can see it in live action and not just in video or in frozen video form. But moving along in the show here, we're now joined by another runner who had a great opening 3K to the season. He was 3rd overall in cross country, led the CMS distance team to a 6th place finish. Henry Pick ran 8:11 to get his season started, and he's here with us today. Henry, welcome to The Double.
How's it going?
Thank you. It's going well here in Claremont, California.
Yeah, before we got started here, you let us know that you got to join in an apartment, not a dorm. So what's the apartment life like for you?
I do have to go for like a mile commute to school, which if I were not a runner or comfortable going long distances, that would be pretty tough. But honestly, it's pretty nice. We have like much better living facilities than school, and I'm here with a bunch of my running buddies. So
nice.
So you got like little track shack action going on, some throwback flow track for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Have you guys started school yet?
This is our first week back.
Got it.
But we're remote though, so.
Oh. Yeah, well, let's start this off. I mentioned you were 3rd overall in cross country. You had a really strong end of the year, winning conference, winning regionals, and then 3rd overall. Take us through that last part of the season. Your team was looking strong all year. Was that 3rd place a surprise to you? Obviously, you won a regional against Pomona, so I'm sure you feel like you had a strong finish in you.
Yeah, I mean, so this season, I was hoping to be sort of a breakthrough from the start of my summer training, but it didn't really go exactly to plan. I had a lot of momentum develop in those last 3 races, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking getting to the middle of the season, and I ran like 26:30 at the Louisville Classic, so that was it. I think at that point I had a lot of pressure to really decide do I want to change my goals and adjust expectations. But ultimately I think I realized that was just sort of a blip, and that I was in pretty good shape. Maybe I needed to readjust my confidence and rediscover my enjoyment in racing. And I think that did come through at region or at conference. We went out in a pretty substantial pace. Like, I had not broken 25 this season. And we came through the 3 mile at like sub 15 for sure. And then from there, I kind of just stayed up with the front pack of PP runners and had a pretty good kick. That race gave me a lot of confidence, and I think that kind of carried through to the next 3. And then the nationals finish was something that I was hoping for, but honestly, I was kind of surprised that I was able to pull that off.
So how do you match this heightened confidence then with this fitness that maybe seems like it was just buried in you? Like, how did you pull these last, regionals and nationals off with, like, how do you take that? How do you hone in? It seems like everyone's going to want to know, how do you hone in that kind of confidence to pull off a third place finish?
Honestly, I completely like reframed how I was thinking about races. I think before it was much more of a, like, I had to force myself to want a time, or to like see our team finish in a certain place. And I don't think I'm really motivated by those types of quantitative goals. I think it's much more of what am I racing for? Like, who am I racing to impress, or demonstrate my my work in the sport. And then also, like, I started to sort of think of things as being like sort of in a theatrical sense, almost like this race is predetermined. Everyone here is acting, and I'm the main character. All victories and losses are my own, and there's like sort of this heroic story that follows through the race. And that, I think, made me more of an intelligent racer. I wanted to, like, maybe turn heads in the last third of the race, whereas before I was kind of like trying to get out into the front pack and really early on, like, push myself. But I think that reframing really did develop a good confidence and better racing strategies.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a unique kind of perspective to racing that I hadn't, like, heard or considered, but I love that.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask you about your coach, Marina Munkin, right? She hasn't been there that long, right?
Yeah, this is her first year.
Okay, nice.
Coaching a team that's on campus, yeah.
Right. So yeah, how has that sort of transition been? Obviously, you guys are doing awesome, men and women, both placing super well in cross. How has that been, sort of adjusting to a new coach, new training?
I'm really liking it. I think her coaching style and sort of my my athlete preferences match very well. I don't really like to, over the years, I realized that I don't really like to overthink times, or what my plan is going to be in a workout or in a race. And I mean, Marina allows people who like to do that to really dig in there, but she in no way forces me to, develop what I feel to be like kind of stressful behaviors or strategies in races. And I think that's been a huge advantage to me this past season.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to
awesome. Seems to have gone well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to disrupt the conversation, but I wanted to ask, and it's been put in the chat, and I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here. Was the huge pile of Cool Ranch Doritos already addressed? It hasn't been, but yeah, we have to ask, what's going on in the background there?
Oh, well, over the course of the semester, I've been spending all of my it's like weekly school allowance, basically, on bags of Cool Ranch Doritos, and I've accumulated probably 70 plus bags. A lot of them have gone to either personal consumption or community donations, and I actually at one point saved the bags and made a Halloween costume out of them. So they're kind of a prized possession of mine back there.
That's awesome.
Love it. It's a great placement.
Yeah.
People listening on the Spotify, the podcast feed, are going to be so confused, but that's how you got to tune into the YouTube. This is the only content you can get on the live show.
So something that's interesting from a perspective on the West Coast side with you all and Pomona, you don't necessarily do a whole lot of indoor racing. This year we saw you, Miles Christensen, and Meredith Blouse head over to BU to run some 3Ks. Meredith ran a 5K. What went into that decision? You ended up running the number 7 all time. You throw in the oversized tracks, you're number 9 all time. Obviously it worked out. So what went into, flying across country to go on a fast 3K?
I think that was kind of Marina's initiative, our coach, and I'm really happy that she encouraged me to do it. She was on the East Coast at Rutgers before, so I think that was like something they did a lot, and she knew that it was super fun. Obviously, I feel the same way. So yeah, I think our head coach for track gave us the go ahead, and we kind of just headed out there. I wanted to see what I could run off of, like pretty good fitness at the end of the season, and Miles and Meredith and my other teammate Laura felt the same. And
Sorry,
we had
Laura.
a free weekend. It's okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, 8:11, and you also had your teammate Miles ran 8:13. You mentioned that you had a newfound confidence from cross country. What does this do for you now heading towards track?
I think over the past month or so, I've really been trying to tell myself to focus on like preseason things, training, developing healthy living habits, keeping in
Doritos in the background.
sorry about this. Yeah, keeping in contact with my teammates, and yeah, sort of stepping off the gas with racing confidence, basically. I think that'll come later in the season, and as I start competing with like top names and stuff like that. So yeah, right now and for the past couple months, it's just been sort of a period to refocus.
Do you know when your next race is, or what you have planned?
We have a number of preseason meets. I think there's one in mid-February.
Okay, cool.
But there's nothing big until, I want to say, Oxy Distance Carnival.
Nice.
I think that might be sometime in March.
So will you guys not run indoor nationals?
We will. Oh, sorry. We will run indoor nationals. Both
Okay.
Miles and I will be in the 3K, and I believe Meredith's in the 5. We'll see. Yeah.
Got it. So it's kind of like one of those, like, let's see if we can get a qualifier. If we do, great. If not, we'll continue with what normal training is.
Yeah.
Got it.
And yeah, sorry, I don't know if those will be qualifiers. Where it's a fast field.
Oh, you all will surely be qualifiers.
All right.
I guess you got to wait and see. You're right. Let's wait and see what the season's like. But yeah, we just had Aidan on running 7:55. You ran 8:11. Alex Phillip has already run 13:58. D3 is on the rise right now. Are you pretty fired up to be among those names now of running some pretty fast times?
Yeah. This is like, I mean, I didn't really pay much attention to the top end before. So I like now that I'm looking at the history of D3, I'm realizing that this is like kind of a special field. And I think every day it's becoming more and more of an excitement that I'm going to be able to race, hopefully, with those other guys. And yeah, maybe be a member of this historic season.
Definitely. Yeah, that's exciting. It's gonna be fun watching. I'm excited to see how it continues going.
As looking at outdoors, are you a 5K, 10K? I've seen some 15s on your Tiefers. What are we going to see from you in the outdoor season?
Yeah, I don't really think I'm much of a mid D guy. Probably 5 and 10. I was thinking about doing the steeple, but I have not had any prior experience there, so maybe give it a shot or two.
Yeah, we've asked the other two to throw some times out. If you're more than welcome to give some times that you're hoping to hit, that you're wanting to run this year. Do you have any in mind?
I I definitely want to go for sub 14 in the 5K. I don't really have any good idea of where I'll fall in the 10. I know that the D3 record there is quite impressive. So I don't, I don't really know where I fall relative to that. And then in the 3K indoor nationals, depends on what Aidan decides to go for, but anything within 5-10 seconds of him would be would be sick.
Yeah, you're running pretty well if you're that close to him.
8:05.
Before we let you go, there was one thing I wanted to ask you. When you think cross country, you think grass, mud, spikes, all of that. You look at pictures on the West Coast, and we see you all Pomona rocking vapor flies on the streets.
Yeah.
Are you all running cross country on the West Coast, or was it road racing this past fall?
I think most of our courses were very flat. I don't know really how many not flat courses they have on the East Coast, and I think that's probably the primary the primary difficulty in running a cross country race. I don't really give that much like notice to muddy conditions or whatever, but it is nice to be in the vapor flies. I think most of our courses were very forgiving, though. There was not much challenge in terrain or elevation that we did.
I'm just giving you guys a hard time.
No, I totally understand it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks so much, Henry, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Fun to learn more about you, and didn't realize the crazy rise you had. I knew it was a pretty big one, but to hear you're from Louisville to third place is quite the jump. So we're excited to see what you can do this track season.
Yeah, keep going.
Thank you guys
for sure.
We'll see
Thanks,
you later.
Henry.
All right, have a good rest of the day.
You too, and thank you. Nice.
All right. Well, that was sweet, and moving forward, we apologize about that technical difficulty there with Ella, but great to hear from Henry and those CMS guys. I know the West Coast, seeing some of our comments saying that we were biased, or I don't know if they meant we were biased or that the coaching association was biased against the West, but that actually brings up a point that I want to make, on Henry and CMS is the Pomona Pitzer guys, just like, and their women, just like CMS, they weren't on campus at all during 2020. And so for what they did, both CMS and PP as, both programs to go to cross country, all four being the top 10, Pomona winning is fairly impressive for not being around each other. And now they missed a whole track season. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they can run in track now that they've been on campus here for majority of the year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I've already thrown down some incredible times. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Our resident correspondent Jordan Carpenter obviously was the former Pomona Pitzer coach. Gave some insider info that potentially someone unattached ran 150 last year who's currently at Pomona. So we'll see that come to fruition here in the future in this track season. As we begin to wrap up here, we want to try to keep it to an hour. Anything catching your eye heading into this weekend or in the future?
I'm definitely excited to keep watching for some DMRs. It looks like so many teams that just have multiple people that are so good. Like we just talked to Henry and Aidan, who both have another teammate that is running right beside them a few seconds back. There's so many after the COVID year, so many teams, so many people have come back for either a fifth year or sometimes even a sixth year. There's just so many good people in D3 that I'm sure we don't even know about yet. So relays are always so fun to watch. But yeah, I think DMR is going to be awesome watching the future. I'm excited for the Gotham Cup. That's pretty close to me. I have some friends watching that Ella was talking about. Ella's racing. She's entered in the mile. So that should be fun. Should be a fast race. Yeah, I'm excited to. That's one I'm probably going to be, if I can't get off work, to go. Actually, there's no spectators, unfortunately, but I'll definitely be watching that live. Some of my housemates are racing, and yeah, I'll be cheering for Ella.
Yes. So we've seen the men's 3K go down.
Yeah.
Alex Phillip took a stab at the men's 5K. I'm sure Cassie Parker and others could go for the indoor 5K. Women's 3K could be in the mix. The women's mile, we just talked to Ella. So I think it's going to be a prominent year in distance running, but there's also going to be other events that we're going to see some big marks from. One race that I have a heat sheet from that I want to point out here before we take off. Otterbein this weekend, former D3 All-American Chase Hampton. He looks to be pacing a pretty strong field. You got Jamie Daly out of John Carroll, Simon Hayes, Wilmington, and Bill Daly off his fresh mile PR with some D1 unattached Ohio guys. So let's see what they can do. I think the pacing is going to be like 8:10, 8:15 range. We'll see. But
3K.
That's a race to watch. But yeah, the double, we did it. Our first one.
There we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We got plenty more coming. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a big year for D3 running, as it's already a big year. Already a record broken. So it's only going to keep getting better. So thanks for tuning in and watching us, and let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next week, and subscribe for more.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe. Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah,
smash that bell. Yes, smash that notification bell.